Welcome to another episode of Let's Talk About It, powered by Prensa Texas and produced by JMT Studios. Today's conversation is focused on something every American is talking about right now, the future of our communities, our economy, and our country.
Today we're bringing voices from different perspectives to discuss the top issues facing Democrats and Republicans in 2026 and beyond. This is not about shouting matches or division. It's about dialogue, some understanding, clarity on some policies that affect everyday people, from the economy and border security to healthcare, education, and the future of democracy. We're talking about the issues that a lot of our voters and readers care about most. So our goal today is really quite simple: respectful conversation, real solutions, and giving our community the information they need to stay engaged and informed. So let's talk about it.
Okay.
All right. So first I want to properly introduce Michelle Los Solis. She is the Bexar County Democratic Chair, and she has been very instrumental here in San Antonio, helping so many folks with getting out the vote, just learning about how to even run for office, how to do their mail-in votes. And so, Michelle, thank you so much for joining us and La Prensa. This is a super exciting podcast that we're hosting.
My pleasure to be here.
Awesome. So we're going to dig right into it because there's two major things. And for those of you that are back home that are going to be watching this on YouTube, there's a lot of paper because there's a lot of new legislation, new policies, new congressional redistricting, and I am not a policy director, so I go straight for the facts. So there's a lot of paper in front of me so I can reference it. Can we talk a little bit about some of the cost of living and economic stability that we see, some of the challenges here in San Antonio, but even beyond San Antonio?
Absolutely. People are hurting. We have always had generational poverty in San Antonio. But with the DOGE cuts here, with the tariff that has impacted both our big trading partners, Canada and Mexico, the small businesses that are being impacted, affordability is a huge issue. And now we've got the Iran war and gas prices going up.
So you just unloaded a lot of information. I mean, so certainly here in San Antonio, and I'm always going to look at things from the perspective of, you know, my lived experience, right? So, of course, grew up in the Indian Creek and then Heritage Park, but then also being in New York for 20 years. And so affordable housing is a very sensitive but also successful solution that can be implemented across cities. And I see San Antonio trying to kind of break into those barriers of true affordable housing, but it seems like development is not going up as fast as the needs for the community are happening.
It's just not attainable.
Yeah.
That's what I've seen. I think it's very difficult to maneuver the system. I think that's one of the things that it's not new. We've had it for a very long time. We do have the developments, but I just feel the process that we have is not.
I think you're 100% correct, Yvette, on that. Anything else you want to?
So, a similar background.
Yeah.
Was born here, and
Wait, where'd you go to high school? Because that's where everybody asks.
New Braunfels High School.
Okay.
Moved away to New Mexico.
Wait, isn't that like a horse, right? Is that a horse or a unicorn?
Unicorn.
I'm like, one of those. Yeah. Got it.
Indeed. I moved away. I spent 36 years in the Department of Defense, mainly the Air Force as a civilian.
Okay, so you're a boss. Okay.
I was 15 years in the Pentagon and 10 years as a senior executive. I was...
And she's a woman.
And she's a woman.
And was there on 9/11. And I was working out of the Pentagon on January 6th. And January 6th was what was my why I'm doing this. My husband and I retired. We came back home, and we're looking to try and make a better San Antonio and a better Texas, right? And affordable housing is one of those key issues. You know, there are things that we need to look at. Do we need a lot of Airbnbs? I mean, there are things that we just need to look at that are stifling some of the housing that we have here. So.
Sure. And there's, you know, I've seen just the first year that I was here in San Antonio, we've talked about this because Yvette owns a construction company. the first thing I noticed were only a handful of developers get the RFPs, the contracts. We won't talk about Project Marvel, not on this episode, but we will one day. But I will say, in general, there's success in seeing growth happen in the community, but it's also a hindrance if you're not making it equitable amongst small, medium-sized construction companies, insurance, liabilities, things that you have to have bonds, like $1 million bonds, $2 million bonds. That's a lot for a small business. So that really goes back to the living and economic sustainability here for San Antonio.
And when when we had federal money and we pushed it away because we didn't want affordable housing in, our neighborhood. That has to stop. We need to make sure. I want to say that in Texas, the average age for a home buyer now is over 40.
Oh my goodness.
And we've got to make sure that we make housing affordable and that we give the American dream to our young people, right? They have to have the ability to think that the American dream is in their reach. And
well, I think one of the biggest things for me, so my background is also in real estate, and one thing that I've seen is that we're not educated on how to get a loan, how to buy a house.
Yeah.
Almost everybody that I didn't get like the $1 million listings. I'd sell I'd go from 50,000 to 200,000. That was my average. But there were most people that were renting. They wanted to rent. And I'm like, why don't you buy? And they're like, oh, I don't qualify, or I don't have good. The ones that thought they didn't
have good credit, they have great
and
credit.
And the ones that thought that they couldn't. So that was my experience. But walking them through it, and they were just like, wow, I never thought I could get my own house. And you're right, they're 40, 50. Mm-hmm. But then when I was working at, again, because of somebody who's educated, when I was selling some lofts, $200,000 lofts, you're talking about 19, 20-year-olds, and they were buying them, mm-hmm. but they were educated in doing the mm-hmm. whole process, right? So where do we go to learn these things, right? Yeah. So we learn from our parents.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And some of our, like my parents only bought one house. They didn't buy a lot of houses. So that was not something that we saw. They bought the house when we were little, and Dad still lives in the house. So that was our mm-hmm. cultural background. And had I not gone to real estate school, I don't know that I would have understood the process either. Right. So I think that's one of the
key factors.
It's a hurdle I didn't even think of. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, part of the conversation is also talking about the student debt concerns. A lot of students, even myself, I had a lot of folks tell me, well, Jaclyn, I didn't have to leave San Antonio. I'm like, well, I had debt. I had student loans. I had to put myself through college, and even working 3 jobs, it wasn't enough. And so I'm grateful for the time that I had in New York, and now that I'm able to bring it back. But those are some of the implications where it's not a sustainable and living wage to be in San Antonio, even educated. Like, there's so many factors that go into it, right? Your support system, what kind of job you have, how much you get paid hourly, all those things.
Well, and I think that's interesting because we share that as well.
Yeah.
We had to leave mm-hmm. San Antonio to get to that place where we felt like, oh, we can make this.
Yeah.
Both of our children, both my daughter and my son have left San Antonio, and they're working in the Denver area.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So I think that is something that we have to really think about here in San Antonio. What it can't just be entertainment. It can't be just the military, because that's where mm-hmm. and tourism, right?
Mm-hmm.
So did you ever leave, Ralph? Did you ever leave?
Just the time I served in the service.
Oh. Yeah.
But
what branch?
Army.
Army.
I'm a combat veteran. And,
thank you for your service, sir.
Thank you, sir.
I love my country. It's the government I don't trust.
Mm-hmm.
But when we're talking about economics, that's my bailiwick. When I got out, my brother was Willie Velasquez, and his story is just fascinating. He was the first aide for Congressman Henry B. Gonzalez, and during we lost my cousin Cosme, and Willie and Cosme were tight, Dan Cardenas. And boy, you want to talk about a good-looking guy? That guy was 6 foot something, and just big and strong and super handsome.
Is that your cousin?
I'm all like you.
Yeah. No. And he and Willie were very, very tight. And he asked Congressman Gonzalez why were there so many brown kids coming home in body bags? And this is where we go down. You and I agree on probably most things. You know, I was a lifelong Republican, but in my opinion, that party doesn't exist anymore. So
Willie, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but Willie was a Democrat, wasn't he?
Willie was a Democrat, and he formed a company, a group called the Southwest Voters Registration Education Project. And no matter how strong a Democrat he was, he absolutely ensured that Southwest voters was nonpartisan, totally nonpartisan. So both parties hated him for that. You know, he was there registering people, educating people, not parties. And his firm belief was he's not here for the party. The party has to be here for the people.
I firmly agree.
The parties have to address the needs of the people. Unfortunately, here in San Antonio, well, not only just in San Antonio, but throughout the entire Southwest, in any area that's colonized, this is a colonized area. The 7 Southwest states of the United States are colonized. They were stolen, okay? And now the colonial impact that we've had for 150 years now is still, but it's waning, okay? And when it starts waning, people get scared because the changes of the empowered Hispanic and the empowered Black. And good, if they want to get scared, let them get scared. It's all right.
Well, you know what, change is tough. People don't like change, and we experienced that when we did the election night.
The primary election night. Yeah. So, just to, I don't know if you're aware, but next time we're adding you to that list, okay? So we, both myself with JMT Studios, along with La Prensa, we wanted to host something, because it really started because a lot of my clients were like, where are we going to host our election night party? And I was like, what do you mean where? Like, there should be one location in New York. Like, there's one location. The Democrats have one location. I was like, what do you mean? And again, it's like crabs in a bucket. What does that mean, right? I'm learning all these new terms here in San Antonio. So, yeah, my clients were like, no, you host your own. I said, no. Like, that's not how my company, what's made me, me. I'm very big on collaboration. I said, well, how about we host a primary election night for both? It can be, if Republicans want to come, great, but mostly Democrats came through. And then we invited also the Bexar County Democratic Chair and the party, and we said, would y'all like to join us? I mean, it's nothing, we're not endorsing anybody. We're literally just trying to bring up the morale, get people to be in the same room, and build to also build community and have a taco or a concha. Like, pretty simple.
It was nice. And it was a nice turnout.
But we got a lot of interesting responses, both from the Democratic and Republican side. The Democratic side of, who do you think you are? Right, you just got here to Texas, or you're not from here. That was my favorite part. I was like, I'm not from here. I'm like, okay, Google me.
Yeah.
And then
mine was like you're not supposed to be taking. What are you doing? Taking sides of this is a mess. This doesn't look right. You shouldn't be doing this. It's really gonna hurt you. It's gonna hurt your brand. I was like, look, I don't even know what to tell you. I said, this is like so. I just thought it was a great idea, and I said, and I stand behind it because it's not a party. I said, I love Republicans, but I really do. I do identify as Democrat, but I love Republicans, and I say it all the time because it's not, I personally do not vote one straight ticket. Yeah. It's a person that's serving their
skill sets, and yes, absolutely,
and with the best interest of the people.
Yeah,
but I didn't get that, and I'm like, I don't really care what you think. You don't come. But you don't want to come. So,
where I got interesting praise from the Republican Party. They were like, "That's cool." Like, all right, that's cool. Like, good luck, but that's cool. And so, I mean, it may have been facetious, but
I always watch when we get praised, especially with the Three Stooges up there. That's Abbott, Patrick, and Paxton. I don't like saying names, but they're the Three Stooges. And right now, they're doing everything that they can to destroy this country, and they're destroying the state.
Yes.
Problem here is Republicans like myself have gone against them, and we don't really give a damn whether they like it or not. We're fighting for the ethics
For the people.
For the people.
of our community.
Right, absolutely. And that is the way it
it's
should
always
be.
about community.
It is always.
Now with the Democrats, they had, I used to get hit back pretty hard, and my brother Willie got hit back pretty hard, because for a long time, through the colonialism, you grow a patron system, and we don't need patrons. We're grown-ups.
Right.
See, and so Willie would fight against the patron. I fought against. Now, in your area, you were talking about economics. They're economic patrons. And those are the tough ones you got to fight. And there's always ways of beating them. We beat them for 40 years. I was self-employed for 40 years. And I never received one penny of funding from anyone. And we did a lot of great things. And that got people angry, angry, angry. But the people that loved it were the working folks. Because we said, you must pay living wage. I told that to every small business that joined us. That was 1,183 small businesses. We're bigger than any of the chambers. When Jack Kemp had asked me to go speak, he was that Secretary of HUD. And guess what? There were a whole bunch of chambers there, especially a Hispanic chamber. I called them the Hispanic chamber. And I said the same thing. I said, no, we're not. He called me the blue collar chamber. And I said, no, we're not a chamber. We work for a living. And that's exactly what we do. We get out there, and we're not socialized. I don't give a damn about socializing. We want results. And when you're talking about living wages, you're talking about housing, the law's already there. It's called Section 3. It's 135 CFR 195 with Section 3. And it's the law. It says that if you're going to use any kind of federal monies, at this time, it was the 30% minimum had to be used with the local community.
Correct.
Okay. Then if you're going to hire people, 10% had to come from the local area. If you're going to buy supplies, 30% has to come from the targeted area. But through the patron system, they say, oh, no, in Sabasca you don't have to do it. I said, no. Sabasca, you do have to do it.
Right.
And so we went after CPS. We went after everybody. We changed CPS's ideology, and they started hiring Hispanics. They were contracting with people down 150, 181. You know, Chescahawa and all those places, Runge and Yorktown. So why aren't you hiring San Antonio people?
Oh, even San Antonio people that are getting degrees had to go to California to go work because they wouldn't hire them.
Why aren't they contracting?
Or go to
with
New
us?
York. I mean,
Or DC.
Or DC.
So
Right.
when they bring up, well, they don't have the bonding capacity. Yes, you do. You just don't have the ganas. And what we did, we forced them to break the contracts down so that everyone could get bonded.
I love
And
that.
we got that. So, but people would tell me, no, hombre, I could have gotten a $10 million contract. No, you're not going to get a $10 million. You're going to get a $500,000 contract. You're going to get a $700,000. Well, go much, you know, they get angry. Go get angry. Go in the closet. Get angry. We're not changing it because we're doing it for everyone, not just for you.
So then what happened, Ralph? Why is it the way it is now?
Well, he went back to it. For 40 years, we made the difference.
Yeah,
And,
for
and
sure.
we opened up, I did WIC to WIC, women, infants, and children to women in construction. You know, and now we're telling people that are the women organizations, say, change it from WIC to women in charge.
I like that.
Women, in my opinion, are the better contractors.
That's why
because
I
they
love
pay
this, man.
attention to detail. Okay? But there's a lot of things that we need to go about. And all of this is a result of voting.
It's because we
Or
saw
It all-
elected.
It all
people.
comes back. Well, we have the right to vote
Absolutely.
for now.
But what can we talk about the access to voting? Because there's been recent Supreme Court rulings happened, and you're going to help me pronounce this because I always mess up. Louisiana versus Calais. Can you explain to our listeners and break it down into brass taxes, the Supreme Court ruling, and how that even affects San Antonio?
I don't think that we should get into the particulars of the mess the Supreme Court makes. Just know that the Supreme Court makes supreme mistakes. And this is one of them.
It is.
This is one of them. But it all started a long time ago when the Supreme Court came out with Citizens United.
And shall be.
Well, yeah, Shelby. But
Can you explain what that is to our
To me.
listeners?
Well, to me.
What Citizens United is in Shelby?
Citizens United, they said that corporations are going to be treated like people. And our arguments, well, fine, send them to Nam.
Yeah.
Send them to the next war.
It allows unlimited money into politics.
Dark money. Okay.
And that was with this Roberts Court as well. Shelby was also against the voting rights.
Mm-hmm.
Prior to Shelby, states that had a history of trying to take away the vote from Hispanic or Black people, they had to go to the Department of Justice and get pre-clearance for whatever changes they wanted to make to the voting rights of their people. Shelby, I think, was in 2013.
Yes.
And it was the beginning of, also the Roberts Court. It was the beginning of all of the different kinds of things that the southern states are doing to.
I don't blame any of these folks for doing what they did to us, simply because we're not children. We need to take it back.
Mm-hmm.
We need to fight.
We do.
And take it back.
So my question is that, and I agree with you, but how do you do it? So I've had these conversations that in high school we were taught very minimal government, but nothing about local government and how important that is to us and how that affects us. We get these get out and vote campaigns, and that's what we're here for. We really want to encourage people to vote. But what does that mean? Who are you voting for? What are you voting for? How do you, like the primaries? Some people say, I already voted. It's
right.
November. I voted in March. They don't know they got to go back again. Or that maybe in May, or maybe, whatever the case is. And what is all we hear is that headline that this person is for this and this one is against that. And that's it. We don't even know the platform. We don't even care. All we do is the sensationalism. We don't do our homework. But we're not taught how to do these things.
Well,
I know I wasn't.
That's our fault.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I don't blame the system for it. If the system is sick, that's because we allowed it to be sick.
Sure.
Okay, so we allowed them to stop teaching civics. Doggone it, we need to have civics in the
we only got a
classes.
half a semester.
And we have to demand that it's as strong because
and understand the importance.
it develops our community through the minds of the children.
Citizens. It makes us citizens.
Mhm.
Exactly.
We have ownership.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But it makes communities.
Yes.
How
Okay.
about patriotism? I remember when I was little, I had to learn what that word meant, the definition of, and you had to be proud to be an American. The idea of even considering to burn a flag
Oh, that
Well,
was like
or
blasphemy.
anti-government.
Well,
Yeah.
look, we need to look at the causes.
Yes.
Yeah, I used to be a veteran, proud. When I remember the hockey team played the Russians,
Mm-hmm.
and when you heard USA, USA, you felt very proud.
Oh,
Right.
absolutely.
Now, when I hear USA, USA, I want to throw up. Because it's being said and spouted by people who have no idea what the United States is about.
Right.
Especially when they start saying USA, USA, and then strong supporters of ICE. Or, they don't want to feed the poor.
Right.
Or they don't want to clothe the naked.
Right.
Or the homeless. And they look at it and they're like, oh, God, look at those people there in the front. That is an insult to any of us who believe in this country.
Yes.
And we have to start getting back to that.
Absolutely. I think that's really important. And our backgrounds, you with the Army, me with the Department of Defense, not having civics, we had civics,
Yes.
right? I mean, we got, re-blued,
Yeah.
re-greened,
Yeah.
on a regular and recurring basis. We
took an oath. And,
We did.
And that oath is to the day we die.
It is.
And we will always support this country. We love this country. That's why we will fight. That's why it's very, very hard for me to, I am still a Republican, although that party, in my opinion, does not exist anymore. And I will fight against the replacement group. I call them fascists. And I will not allow them to destroy our country.
Right. And they're doing a darn good job of
We
it.
are a nation of immigrants. And now you're starting to hear the thing says that people from Europe are Native Americans. I'm saying, bull,
Yeah.
He said, oh yeah, we've been here 300. Well, my family's been here 300 years, but they're saying they've been here 500 years. Well, so what? The idea of America is in our Constitution, which was given to us by the Iroquois Confederacy, the Native Americans. They're the ones that created that. They're the ones that inspired Benjamin Franklin and Jefferson and all those. They are the ones that gave us a lot of thought, a lot of foundation. But do we ever talk about that? No. And that's our fault, because we're not demanding that the education system. When they say the Board of Education, they're exactly right. They're bored of education, And I don't have a problem saying that. I've said that to their faces in the board.
Yeah.
All right,
because they don't want to teach a multicultural history.
Well, look at this latest fiasco from that idiot, one of the Three Stooges, Dan Patrick. When I don't remember, Katie Rogers, I think her name was
for the Alamo.
With the Alamo.
Oh, yeah.
She wanted to present the facts.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we've been talking for years. Look, let's just present the facts and let the person who's listening decide whether they want to believe it or not.
Right.
But these are the facts. And that's whenever we get into things, we have to talk about the facts. I don't talk about the truths anymore. Why? Because if you're a judge, a politician, or a cop, the truth is whatever you want it to be. But the facts are always 1 and 1 will be 2.
Mm-hmm.
You see, so we address the facts, and I think that's what she wanted to do. And, you hear all this nonsense about Texas history is based on, 1960? The Alamo. John Wayne.
Right.
And Dan Patrick isn't from Texas, he's from Maryland. We do. Why? Because Hispanics, we have our histories are told to us.
Correct.
Down, you know why? Because they will not write it.
Right.
But it is well written.
But I will
It's
write
in the
it.
Library of Congress.
I'll write it.
But publications like La Prensa will write in. That's why storytelling is so important.
Yes.
But also, even yesterday, State Rep Josie Garcia hosted the Digital Underground in front of the steps of the San Antonio African American Museum and Archive, SACAM. And she could have gone anywhere to give them a proclamation, because Digital Underground, huge historical hip hop band, they were performing at the zoo for their festival, their gala. And she was very intentional. I want to give the proclamation in front of this historic building, because 30, 40 years from now, this building is going to be the 3rd largest African American museum in the United States. And I want people to remember this day. And so she's already planting those seeds, as we're talking about.
Well, the African American community needs to buy off on their part. The war between the United States and Mexico was fought over slavery.
Yep.
All right. And Santa Anna came to the Alamo to free the slaves. He freed all those folks. Who were the only ones that lived? The women, children, and the slaves that were in the Alamo.
Right.
All the rest of them died. Now, in credit to Santa Anna, he told them, look, all y'all can leave. There was 13 days of glorious nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
The damn battle lasted 90 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and he allowed everybody to leave. He said, leave. There's less people we got to fight. But at the end of the day, on the 13th morning, we're going to come in and kill everybody. The only survivors were the blacks, the women, and the children.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's a lot of history there, a lot of stories there. They talk about how brave Davy Crockett was, and he died fighting in the Alamo, which is nonsense. He died in Alabama. All right? And Alabama it talks about that. Why? Because he was a Mason, a Freemason. So was Santa Anna. So was Sam Houston. So was Stephen F. Austin. Stephen F. Austin and Sam Houston were given jobs by Santa Anna. And Davy Crockett was not going to be killed by another Freemason. So he let him go. So I guess that's when he transformed to Frankie Avalon. So those are histories that we need to teach and allow us to present the facts, and then let the children that are in the school say, okay, let's debate it. Why? Because that makes them free thinkers.
Right.
That's
Critical
correct.
thinking.
We have to give them that critical thinking opportunity.
Yes.
But right now, the system seems to be trying to control, just like they did in 1932 Germany. This is 1932 Germany on steroids.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and
Yeah,
only 18 months.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's terrible because we were talking earlier about social media, and that's why it's on steroids, because we don't really have to look and research anything at this point. Let's just get on social media, and if it's on social media, it has to be true. So and we've got people that are very passionate about their opinions. I'm trying to find the right word because I want to say some other words, but they won't say that when you speak to them in person. But boy, behind that keyboard, they can be very nasty and very ugly, and
They're cowards.
But that's where the responsibility for social media and storytelling also comes into play, because it can change the entire course of a community,
absolutely.
of a person's life. We saw it firsthand with Judge Rosie Speedlin Gonzalez. Even though her case was dismissed, her 40 plus years of being this amazing, and she still is an amazing community servant. And full disclosure, she's my mentor. I adore her.
I do too.
But she's a rock. And as I'm seeing all this play out, right, because I'm the newbie in town, so which is fine. I'll take that title forever and a day. Just keep giving me tacos. So as I'm watching this play out on social media, I'm seeing all of her hard work, especially the work with the Reflejo Court, Second Chance. It's being broken down, tear down. But then last night, she was honored for her work. And so it was a really interesting room. But it was also, everyone was supportive, but also everyone was also quiet. And all because social media and things that people heard or saw without even reading the transcripts. The real fact.
Otherwise, it's again, the sensationalism. People didn't even know what happened. I got the phone calls because I'm very vocal about the fact that Judge Rosie is a friend of La Prensa. She used to write for us, Manguera Memories, and she's an amazing writer. But she is an amazing person. One of the I used to serve under the bridge. We used to volunteer to serve the homeless. And then all of a sudden we couldn't anymore. And then all of a sudden she calls me. She's like, hey, you want to come under the bridge? We're going to be serving. And we did. And I love that she did that. But she serves. And it wasn't a look at me. It wasn't
let me take a photo. Let me take a photo of.
Right. Let's just help the people.
Yeah, she's hadn't go to the food bank. I'm like, don't do this. This hurts. I thought it was a photo op. I'm just kidding. I didn't say that. But the fact is that we do. She serves her community humbly. But people don't know you, and they see something on social media, and
they run with it.
Oh my God, they just being nasty. Nothing about herself. Nobody who even knew her.
Yeah.
She has a record, an amazing record. But again, we're looking at social media, and now I don't even say social media. How about the media?
Right.
Because there were people that were brought on. What was it? KSAT 12.
Oh, there were so many. So even as the case was unfolding and case was dismissed, there were still ads that you could see running of old articles, and it's just hammering or attempting to hammer her character. And I'm thinking to myself, I get it. I know where that's coming from because I'm in media, right? I'm in politics and policy. I get it. But I was like, when's enough enough?
But it wasn't even, the thing is, there was no truth.
That's
there was
correct.
no fact checking. There was no responsibility. Journalism at its worst.
And the timing of it all.
Right before the election.
Right.
It
right
happens
before the
every
primary.
time. It always happens.
Rosie and I are very dear friends from way back.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And I love her to pieces. The media was allowed to do that. Okay. I've been on the same side where I've been put in that box because I wouldn't shut up.
No, you don't say.
And
No,
I don't.
not at all. Not at all.
And so all we did was we went ahead and campaigned like hell and got the judge removed. And then the district attorney removed, Susan Reed. She did a lot of bad things. And we went after him. So she sends law enforcement after us. So what? You're just cops with badges. It's all right. We're going to fight you. We're going to go against you when you're wrong. And we're going to support you when you're right. That's what we have to do as a nation. We've gone into a system of how much justice can you afford.
Yep.
If you can't afford justice, you're not going to get it.
You're going to go to
That
prison.
is wrong.
It is absolutely
Totally wrong.
The line "no one is above the law" does no longer applies.
But
That's
what
right.
I don't want to see is, and I know how these games are played. When a certain group wants to get rid of you, they'll fabricate things, and
They
then
sure as
they'll
hell did.
all these machinations, they're going to do,
And nobody
and
cares.
that will.
They just did it. They just believed it.
But
that-
I do think we've got to get out the vote, right? I
well,
mean,
that will
it's really
destroy the incumbents. I mean, the people that are coming up. Like, for example, Ali Pettis. She's taken over Rosie's.
Mm-hmm.
Let's give her all the support we can, because by giving her all the support you can, then that means you're making Rosie's programs survive and succeed. Because it's not about Rosie. It's not about
Yeah,
Pettis.
it's the program.
It's about the program. It's about the people
it's
that
about
are
the
involved
second
in it.
chance.
Yeah.
Right.
That's right.
Absolutely.
So let's. I refuse to bash anybody,
Yep.
because one, it takes a lot of courage to run,
It does.
and the way that
Look at us. We're like, we both went to the Yale campaign school, and I'm like, I will never run. Not in this city. You know, that
well,
scared me.
anywhere.
No, here
Here
no,
is
no,
scary.
no. This city is no different than any other city in the country, and I've been all over the.
Yeah.
My company, I started in my garage, and I eventually it only took 40 years, overnight success, right? And I was in 4 states. I went and exposed that idiot Joe Arpaio in Phoenix, Arizona. Got him indicted. And what does the orange goblin do? He makes him
Orange
sheriff
Zoo.
of the year.
Yeah.
You know, and so when I went out there, he came up to me and in front of all the cameras and said, "Boy, next time you come into my town, you better bring your papers." And I turned around and I said, "F that language, and these are the only papers you'll get." And I held up my dog tags. And they had a protest a few months later, and they said the word, and these are the only papers you'll get. All the
Awesome.
students.
Good for them.
And that was sponsored against us, in my opinion, with no evidence, by ALEC. Why? Because we questioned Senator Russell, who eventually got recalled, and when I think it was SB 5 or something like that, when they wanted $5 billion more to build prisons, and they said, "Well, who are we going to put in there?" He says, "Well, the Mexicans." And that's when the immigration thing started coming up.
Can
And
you
we
explain
said no.
ALEC for our
For
viewers
Yvette.
and listeners?
And
And
for Yvette.
Yvette.
For Yvette. Yes.
Well, it's a very effective and efficient organization. It stands for American Legislative Executive Council or Committee, and they've got a very large membership. The majority of them, not the majority, but a very strong cadre of it, is the for-profit prisons. And they push getting rid of the public defender's office and privatizing it. They believe in privatizing the jails, and that's why they're going to put more and more people in.
And explain why that's so beneficial, the privatizing.
It's not beneficial at all.
Well,
It destroys our country.
Yes.
And it's
So then why do they do it?
because we
Money.
allow it to do it.
And
But
who,
it is its
People.
money.
and
Right.
who, yeah, and who gets all that money?
Right. And that's
Yes.
why privatizing everything, right? Our schools, right? I mean,
The
just,
school vouchers.
yeah, the
Yeah.
voucher programs
Exactly.
that it's
And numbers
all-
already came out, not to interrupt, but the numbers came out already, the first quarter of the vouchers that were distributed. I think there were close to 100,000. Almost 60% were just utilized on the north side of San Antonio, which means predominantly the north side has affluent, white, Caucasian, of course Hispanics, but
And
the
better
other
education. They have
yes,
school
school
districts
districts
have
are
more
you
money.
know much more modern and STEM programming, all the things.
But that's been
But-
true forever.
Right.
Yes.
Alamo Heights has always had a larger ratio than Edgewood.
Right.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And the
Edgewood
first,
has the most casualties and fatalities of any school district in the country
From
Wow.
Vietnam.
and from wars.
Yeah.
Yes, my uncles were both of them were part of the Company C for the Marine Corps, Chosen Frozen. If you ever hear, you don't ever hear anything about the Chosen Frozen. You go look in front of the Municipal Auditorium. That's what I call it. Some people call it the Tobin Center, but I call it the Municipal Auditorium because the Municipal Auditorium was created to validate and to honor the veterans. Now the Tobin Center puts all our stuff in the very back, but we have a monument to the Chosen Frozen right up in the front, and you go look at it, it's Company C. Almost all of them are Hispanic.
Wow.
And those men fought and withheld or held back the Chinese. When they say chosen, it's CHOSIN. That's the name of a reservoir that during the winter it froze over, and we had already beaten the North Koreans. The war was over until Christmas. And that's when the Chinese came in mass, 300,000, 400,000, 500,000. And you had that Company C from San Antonio, Texas, who held them back. And every single one of them were injured. A lot of them died. A lot of them were wounded. But every single one were injured. But they held the line. And where do we hear about that? Why? Because they're mostly Hispanic.
Wow.
But you have it out there. We forced them to put it out there. And we didn't give a damn whether they liked it or not. It was going to go up.
Now they do an event every Memorial Day at Kennedy High School that celebrates the Vietnam veterans who were the class of '67.
So they're coming. That's
coming up Memorial Day
So
at Kennedy High School.
there's such a great testimony for San Antonio, for our Marines, for Hispanics, but like we were talking about the education, and we were talking about Alamo Heights and Edgewood, and I think, I mean, if you think about that, so courageous, everything that they did. You know, the first school district to start teaching Spanish officially, because I learned this recently that in 1973, up until 1973, it was illegal to speak Spanish in school.
Yeah.
So I thought that was the year I was born. I was like, that wasn't that long ago because I'm still young. But the first school to teach Spanish and allow it is Alamo Heights.
Yeah.
And you would think it would be Edgewood, somewhere where we had Spanish as our first language or second language, and it wasn't. And why? Because nobody taught us that speaking Spanish means that you have two languages, you can get paid more money. We didn't do
Opportunities.
Spanish was my first language. And you remember back, well, they don't even teach this, the restrictive covenants. Okay, the restrictive covenants. If you were Hispanic or black, you were not allowed to live north of Calabria Street.
Oh yeah.
You had to live south of Calabria Street. So all the men that came and women that came back from fighting World War II, they had to live south of Calabria, and thus the beginning of Edgewood.
That's what the edge of the woods. That's why you
Edge of the wood.
That's why you get the name.
And you look at the north of it. I was born and raised on Tampico and Frio. My dad, World War II veteran. He fought in both theaters, wounded. And the only job he could get was a butcher at Swift & Company on San Marcos Street. My mom, during the war, World War II, as most Hispanic women did, they did everything they could for the war effort. So they worked at fine silver. That was called a sweatshop. Okay? They still have the benches. They're about 6 inches wide and about 18 inches long. And the women had to sit there for 15, 16 hours a day. Can you imagine?
Wow.
It was a sweatshop, and we still have it here. I was going to buy
We
it.
think this is all ancient history, and it is
I was,
not.
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago.
when we became successful in business, I was going to buy the place because I had the whole second floor. And then they found out it was me who was going to buy it. And they jacked the price up 5 times. I said, oh, no. I'm not stupid. But we look at those things and we say, look, if we weren't even allowed to live north of Calabria Street, and when my dad said, come on, we're going to move to the north side, we're like, what do you mean? He said, well, we moved to Laurel Street. That's the block. So our backyard was looking at the kids across. And they were all POWs. Because remember, San Antonio had a large German POW camp outside of Crystal City. And interesting, though, that in Crystal City they had the POW camps, but they made the American veterans serve them. That was an insult.
Yeah.
All these guys
Absolutely.
that came back from the war,
Wow.
wounded and stuff, and they needed a job. They go as waiters up in Crystal City. Okay, then our government goes ahead and does the restrictive covenant, where we are not allowed to live north of this thing because those homes that were being built were built for the POWs. And why? Because they needed their expertise to work at Kelly.
Wow.
You know? So you see, there's a lot of history that we have to debate.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it. And if somebody doesn't like it, well, then let's talk about the facts.
Right.
And let's only talk about the facts.
Yeah, because I've never ever heard that there was a German POW camp.
In Crystal City.
Crystal City.
And I think one of the biggest things that Jackie and I discussed, exactly what you're saying. Let's talk about it. And you guys are talking about things that are absolutely important, and that's why I asked, how was it? What happened? How did we get where we're at? We talk a lot about city council, right? So nobody really teaches you about local government, the process of what their responsibilities are. I remember we did during the mayor candidate.
Like the forum, the mayoral forum?
It was a forum because it wasn't a debate. I was going to say debate, but there wasn't a debate. There was too many people to debate. I think at that point,
Yes.
I think I had
27?
Yeah, so I had like 21 at mine at Palo Alto College, and so it wasn't. And it was, they were all up there, and it was very interesting because the idea was so people could know who
Who they
was
were.
running, and there was a lot of them that probably shouldn't have been. Right, their hearts were in the right place. But I remember there was a conversation about. The question was asking about their positions on abortion and abortion rights, and so they went all the way to the end until somebody finally said, "It doesn't matter. We're mayor. Even if I'm the mayor, there's nothing I can do about it. That's a federal." So that's how much. And there was like two different things that happened like that.
Yeah,
where
right.
like that's a county issue that has nothing.
But
to do
even with
with
the
issue.
district attorney's race, right? So right now, initially Shannon Locke, who was a district attorney candidate, came out and said, we need to investigate ICE. And immediately everyone was like, oh no, that's a federal issue. You can't do that. Mm-hmm. And of course, him being the only board certified candidate, he was like, let me do my homework even more. He's like, Jaclyn, I found 11 district attorneys that are already filing reports and filing cases. And so fast forward to even as of yesterday, Governor Abbott announced that he's going to put some state prosecutor restrictions that if a district attorney essentially doesn't abide by what he says to do in terms of ICE or what the president requests in terms of ICE, that he will prosecute them fully. Yeah.
That is true. I do believe that one is going to require a supermajority to pass.
Correct.
It's one of his public safety priorities that he announced. Yeah. They need at least 100 legislators in the Texas House to agree to that, so that it'll go on to the constitutional amendment, election.
But we've got to get rid of, like I said, the Three Stooges.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
That's absolutely the same.
It can't come to the floor unless it gets on calendars.
Right.
Yep.
And the calendar gatekeeper is the lieutenant governor.
And in order to do that, we have to do such a better job of making sure that people vote. Right?
That's correct.
In 2022, we had 17.6 million people registered to vote. Mm-hmm. In November of 2022, we had 8.1 million of those registered voters come out to vote. That's 45%. Only 21% of Texans elected your number one stooge.
Yes.
So I mean, that's where we're at. If we get that few people out to vote, we're going to get what we have, right? Republicans have been in charge in Texas for 30 years, and if you look at any measure, any kitchen table issue, we are at the bottom. We are at the bottom of affordable health care. We're dead last. Absolutely.
We're in
Women,
the
sex,
49th or 50th on all these things. And
that's because
Mississippi's
we're not
outshining us, and that's not very
That's
good.
nuts,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But that's where we're at.
But that's our fault, though, because we allowed it to happen.
So
We
what
have
can-
to get the people out to vote.
Yes.
We got to educate them.
Yes.
We got to give them a reason.
Yes.
And the reasons are staring them right in the face, but nobody's talking about it. And that's where your social media comes in very handy, very critical. We have to, because if you don't amalgamate or organize the social media ventures, you're going to see what's happening to NBC, CBS, like the Sinclairs and the Ellisons are buying them out.
Oh, yes.
So that one of the things when I came into this position, to your point, Republicans have been doing a very fine job of defining who Democrats are, right?
Yeah.
We're socialists, we're the crazy people, demons, everything. We have not been returning the favor.
That's right.
Right? We need to be returning the favor. So that was one of my campaign promises when I came into this job is we've got to do that, and we have. So we have done videos that say Republicans have been in charge in Texas for 30 years, and here's where we rank on, you name it, anything. We have a series of topical things. The Kerrville flood, Signalgate, Doge, the tariffs, the federal shutdowns, which of course impacted, military city. Right?
My son.
Anything, right? Gas prices is the last one we've done. I mean, gas prices are just have shot up outrageously. So that's what we have to do.
I would love to see the Democratic Party get a spine. Okay? Y'all have a lot of rhetoric, but you don't have the spine. The Republican spine vanished. Now they're just step and fetchits. Okay?
Yes.
They will do whatever the Orange Goblin says.
Some of them, I think some of them are just confused.
No, they're not confused. They're
No.
scared. It's fear.
Yeah, it
well,
is.
fear,
It's
sure.
total fear.
It is. It's fear because
Well,
of the bullies.
But look what's
Exactly.
happened.
And the
It's-
death threats.
Yes.
Yeah, this man has canceled out people. Ruined their lives just because if you spoke against him. And look at what's happening in Texas. I think it's I can't believe how backwards we are. That's why I say confused, because how is this being allowed?
We're not backwards. I love Texas. I love being a Texan, a Tejano.
Yeah, you too.
Okay.
Yeah, same thing.
And because we've been here, our family's been here 300 years. So we're not an apologia for failure. Okay. And we will take it right to whoever doesn't like it. Okay. So the threats and stuff I'm kind of used to. All right. But I'm more concerned about the future.
Yes.
Yes.
So we have to address education, employment, and entrepreneurism. Let's keep it at the 3 E's. Very simple. Through education, and I'm not just talking about formal education. Look what we did over there at St. Philip's Southwest Campus.
Yes.
Everybody. Yeah, everybody said, "Oh God, Ralph, that's stupid. It's foolish." Well, Tom Sandoval, who just passed away last week, he and I and that fabulous Dr. Federico Zaragoza, they all saw the vision. And they said, okay, but we're not going to be a vocational. No, we don't want to be a vocational school. We want to be an opportunity school.
Yep.
So what the difference between that and everywhere else in the country is that the Southwest Campus, St. Philip's Southwest Campus, teaches state-of-the-art construction, automotive, paint and body, microbiology, all microenergy things, solar, wind, electricity, but they include entrepreneurism. So these kids have to understand what a business plan is. They have to understand how to get a loan, how to create their own future.
Yeah.
And so that is the big difference. Instead of them being trained to be the consumer of industry, they're being trained to be the owners of industry. That's a big difference, because what do you have then? You've given them hope.
Right.
We have people, the kids over there, they don't drop out, they drop in. You don't have a dropout rate. You have a graduation rate.
Everybody wants to enroll.
And the beautiful thing that, because of the genius of Dr. Zaragoza, he said, "Look, these kids are coming to school and they're bright, they're brilliant. A lot of them happen to be from the barrios, where I'm from, or from the courts, the projects from where, we were from. But their IQ is off the charts." So he said, "You know what? Let's maximize that." So now those kids, and this is the first campus to ever do it. Now a lot of people are doing it. Dual credit. Now they're doing it, and they're saying they're going to school, scoring very, very well, and they're getting credit for college.
And associates.
And when they can graduate as seniors, they're also getting 2 years of college credit.
I love that.
My God. And the difference is one of, I think, 1,400 school districts in the country. Or no, it makes one of 700. I'm sorry, it is 700, I think, that allow to be graduated through exhibition. A lot of people take these STAR tests and this, and then they can graduate. Fine, okay. But at St. Philip Southwest Campus, the high school kids, it's called the Phoenix program, out of the ashes.
Right.
These kids have to put together a project. And then in there they incorporate every single thing they've learned. English, math, science, the whole works. And then they get the masters. For example, the Drury Inn. Rick Drury came and judged it. The Boeing people came and judged it. All those that are affiliated with that project. And now they're going to colleges.
Absolutely.
MIT, Harvard.
I love that.
So it actually did work, and I feel like we can still build something like that. We're almost out of time, so I really want to give y'all each a moment to be able to say a final, and then we can.
Yeah, I want to have a quick, we'll edit this out, but because we are a little over time, quick rapid fire question on what is, for both of y'all to answer, one policy you believe would help families immediately here in San Antonio. We'll start with you, Michelle, because ladies first, right? Ladies first.
Yes, definitely.
I think if we expanded healthcare opportunities in Texas, we would help a lot of families.
Healthcare opportunities like what?
Expanding Medicaid.
Medicaid.
Yeah, I mean we're paying that money.
So
right?
make it more.
Right. So we're paying the money to the federal government. We're not getting it back to help our citizens, and we're paying property taxes for indigent care, right? So I mean we're getting a triple whammy. And so if we expanded Medicaid in Texas, it would help people. We have twice the bankruptcy rate of the nation here in Texas, and a lot of that is because people can't afford health care.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
So, Ralph, for you, what is one policy, as we wrap up, that you believe would help families immediately here in San Antonio or in Texas?
Employment. And in our organization, 40 years, anybody that wanted to help, so we're helping everyone. And I told them, one, you've got to do a quality work 100% of the time. Two, you need to charge a fair price 100% of the time. Three, you must pay living wages. Abusive labor is never acceptable because that'll destroy your company. And four, you and your families and your employees all must be registered to vote. I don't give a damn who you vote for, but you got to vote.
Yes.
I love that.
And for those four things, we moved mountains for them.
Right.
We got them involved in the game. That's why we know a lot of these things that are happening out there, because they say, you know what, we can't get a contractor. Why not? Well, they won't let us in. Well, that's bullshit. And so we went and destroyed it. We said, all right, boom.
Change the list.
Changed it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and unlike Trump, we believed in the RFP. You know, we didn't believe in no bid contracts.
Right.
We followed the rules. The only thing is that we made the rules work for us, as they should work for everyone.
Everybody.
Yeah,
I love
absolutely.
that. So I think that's a really great idea. Just really quickly, I think that it's something we really should push. Employers making their employees register to vote.
Yes.
And then explaining a little bit, even if it's just an informational pamphlet, just with the basics of voting. Anyway, I love it. I've never heard of it, but I think it's a great idea.
I think both of y'all have really great insights and historical context to what has happened in the past, not just here in San Antonio, but across the nation. And so it makes me really proud to have y'all on our 5th episode, which we're really pumped. So thank you to both of our guests for joining us this afternoon. And as we discussed, there's no matter your political affiliation, conversations like this are super important because democracy works best when communities stay informed and are involved and are certainly engaged.
At La Prensa Texas and JMT Studios, we believe in creating space for respectful dialogue, diverse voices, and conversations that move our communities forward.
Because of people like you, we are still we the people.
Thank you.
We need more folks like you because it's going from we the people to we the corporations.
Correct.
And we will not allow that. And no matter what the Supreme Court says. Okay?
Yes.
And remember that your voice matters, your vote matters, and your participation matters. And these conversations matter. So until next time, let's talk about it.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
That was great.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you.